Welcome back to our final campfire session. The topic of this campfire session is hyperconverged infrastructure when free-tier architecture is not just good enough. Our host for this campfire is Saša Bogunović, and he will start the presentation very soon. Saša, the floor is yours.
Hello to everyone. Welcome to this last campfire of this event. And we have a somewhat different topic than the previous ones. And we are talking about infrastructure on premises here. So not really cloud infrastructure and cloud services. So the hyperconverged infrastructure when three-tier architecture is just not good enough. Let's see what it is all about. My name is Saša Bogunović. I'm solution architect from Span, 16 years with Span right now. So I'll skip about Infocumulus since you heard everything about that in previous sessions. And just a small housekeeping item. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. I will answer every and each question once I'm done with the presentation. Also, when we get to the question and answers part of this campfire, you can freely unmute and state your questions, and we'll handle it. So, what is hyperconverged and what are the reasons for the hyperconverged infrastructure? So basically today's reality for every VM admin is that infrastructure complexity is rising rapidly. It is requiring a multi-domain experience. So in larger organizations, you typically have dedicated teams, one for the storage and the storage area networking, one for the servers and virtualization. Third team would handle networking, and other teams would handle application, databases, and so on. It is very complex to organize and synchronize those teams to be very agile and to rapidly change the infrastructure in demand to be in to confirm with the demands from the business side and for for the ever-changing business objectives. It is becoming a constant firefighting with uncontrolled VM sprawl, and basically you have, like it was shown in the previous campfire, you have to have a very good tools to know where your resources are deployed, where are your applications, and to control that VM spending and the infrastructure spend. So from the business side, the pressure is to lower cost, requiring efficient utilization at scale, and there is a pressure to do more by supporting both traditional and modern apps. And those things can be answered by a hyperconverged infrastructure. What is hyperconverged infrastructure? It's a silo collapse from the multiple devices and functionalities. So on the left side of this slide, we can see that we have top of the rack switches, we have servers with hypervisors, storage switches, highly available shared storage, backup and deduplication devices or functionality, wide area network optimization, solid state disk array, storage caching, and data protection apps, bundled with either on-premise or cloud monitoring systems. And all of those, with the exception of top of the rack switches, are collapsed into a hyper-converged infrastructure of rack mount servers with software-defined functionalities we have here on the slide. So basically, we are collapsing whole silos that can be easily managed without with simple generalist VM admin with no special skills. So the goal of the hyperconverged infrastructure is to be agile, efficient, to have one platform, one partner managed by one generalist of your employment. So what does hyperconverged, or how does hyperconverged experience makes life easier? It's simple to deploy. It's software-defined infrastructure that is abstracted from the hardware. It provides a single pool of centrally orchestrated resources, and some vendors claim to have a 15-minute rack to app experience. So basically, once you have racked everything physically into your data center, it takes you about 15 minutes to deploy everything by using automated simple deployment processes with IT services and IT automation. And you are ready to deploy your virtual machines and start to deploy your applications. It's simple to manage. It has unified management. Its unified management eliminates management silos. So you are no longer separately managing storage, networking, hypervisor, applications, and so on. It is using one console to for unified management of all your data center elements, and thus by providing greater agility and greater efficiency, and thereby reducing operating cost. It's using also policy-based automation that removes manual processes and accelerates time to market. And one of the very important things, it is very simple to scale. So you have predictable scalability of compute and storage resources, and you can start small and easily scale out in increments. So how do we empower management? You can manage everything in a single pane of glass. You can have a simplified daily routine with 3-click operations for your every daily need. You can enforce consistency through policies. You can ensure compliance and system uptime, and you can save time with single-click upgrades. It is not, the management is not limited to single data center, but you can have a global unified management. By using that global unified management, you're globally managing your whole IT infrastructure wherever it is, and it is no longer hardware-based or hardware-centric. It is VM-centric management, and it enables VM mobility wherever you want to place your VM or app. It has built-in resiliency, backup, and disaster recovery, and some vendors are offering a guaranteed data efficiency. Data efficiency is, of course, available through all vendors, but some of them are guaranteeing data efficiency ratios. So how does hyperconverged infrastructure does all that? It's intelligently simple. Anyone can manage it. So it is all in one system that collapses the stack, removing silos with built-in resiliency, backup, and disaster recovery. It offers zero downtime refresh cycles. It can, by flexibly adding or removing modular systems non-disruptively to meet business needs. You're no longer working hardware refreshes or hardware upgrades by ripping and replacing your whole hardware stack. For instance, if you have obsolete hyperconverged infrastructure, you simply add new hyperconverged nodes into existing system, migrate both the data, application, virtual machines to the new nodes seamlessly and transparently, of course, non-disruptively, and then remove and decommission the old obsolete hyperconverged nodes. You have a global unified management that centrally manages everything, including data protection. Hyperconverged infrastructure is providing automated tuning. It's always optimal performance, efficiency, and resiliency without knobs or trade-offs. And one of the most favorite features for every system admin or system generalist is one-click upgrades. It provides a simple lifecycle management across firmware, hypervisor, and operating system in a simple, automated fashion without complexity or long-term planning of the upgrades. Everything is backed up with global intelligence, with predictive analytics and support automation via several vendor solutions, Just to name a few, we have HPE InfoSight, we have VMware Skyline, we have Microsoft Azure Log Analytics, and so on. And this is the example how a cloud experience with simple, powerful business continuity can be achieved using your private cloud on-premises hyperconverged solution. So once you have your hyperconverged infrastructure across two sites, you simply create disaster recovery or business continuity strategies as you scale out across sites. Once those policies and strategies are in place, you simply move or fail over your apps and data, or fail them back with a simple, quick, and transparent action. So not only the backup is available locally, it is also available globally. Hyperconverged infrastructure is also offering a best-in-class replication included, and it can automate VM moves across sites. So you have global unified management with intelligence. You can globally and simply administer how many sites you have, with all of the automation and policies you implement as you wish. And you can scale out to how many remote sites you need, and establish a hub and spoke design to enable both disaster recovery, business continuity, and highly available resiliency of your systems. So this is a short overview of the evolution of the systems. So we are coming from the hardware confined and hardware defined IT infrastructure world. It was complex, it was manual, it was reactive, and it was not as efficient, especially in the operations part, as we wanted. And we are currently living in a software defined IT infrastructure world where it is no longer complex, but it is automated. It is manual, but it is on demand. It is still a reactive system, but it is highly efficient in utilizing its resources. And we are going towards the AI-driven IT infrastructure world, where the infrastructure will be autonomous, self-healing, predictive, and self-optimizing. So how we can use hyperconverged infrastructure. The top use cases are SMB and Robo, primarily because we can start very small. 2 nodes of hyperconverged infrastructure can be sufficient to provide high availability with low entry cost, and you can scale out as much as you need. Following that, data center consolidation is gaining popularity for the hyperconverged infrastructure. Why? Because you can scale unlimited. Some vendors really are unlimited without a limit to the number of nodes in a cluster, while others are using clusters and federations between the clusters. But the number of clusters and nodes are more than sufficient to alleviate all of your needs. VDI is something that is traditional hyperconverged sweet spot. Why? The hyperconverged started with the VDI in mind, and it is still the best platform for the VDI. So even if you have power graphics intensive VDI workloads, you can alleviate that with the NVIDIA Tesla and other GPU accelerator cards. Cloud computing is rising in popularity for the hyperconverged infrastructure, and as our tier 1 applications that are using the best practices are available on hyperconverged infrastructure. Data protection is also something that is highly used in hyperconverged, and one of the most popular use cases for the hyperconverged is test dev, due to its self-service, self-provisioning nature that can easily provision resources and scale as needed. So how do we determine the right architecture for the workloads you have in your systems? Well, we are here as your trusted advisors and trusted partners to help you with your journey to change and accept the hyperconverged infrastructure. Usual questions are how many virtual machines will be supported and how will application capacity grow over time. Those are the necessary questions to size for the current needs and for the foreseeing future, just to avoid the situation that we implement the system and you are running out of resources in 6 months. So although, or should I say, even if hyperconverged can scale easily, we need to give you some grow margin for the foreseeing future. And in 1 to 3 years, as needed, you can easily scale out by deploying additional hyperconverged nodes. And also one of the very important questions are there any physical space requirements, or what are the SLAs for performance, availability, and protections, so we can size accordingly to your requirements. And the most important thing is choose the right tool for the job. Here, I have to mention that this is a hyperconverged infrastructure overview in general. We are working with several vendors with several types of solution, and every solution can be adjusted to your needs. So, for instance, our recommendation is to use HPE hardware solution and products, but they are not recommended for vendor lock-in. Why? Because we using those products, we are offering you Microsoft-based Hyper-V solution. We are offering you VMware vSphere solutions, and we are offering you Nutanix solutions, and they are all available on HPE hardware products. So, following on, we have architectural experience that can get complex very quickly. So let us see a typical dilemma for one infrastructure architect. If we are using hyperconverged, that's an excellent solution for predictable workloads. It is ideal for general purpose apps, Edge, and Robo. Its compute and storage easily scale together in a single hyperconverged node as a sizing block. It is simplest for easy management. The other way would be to have an external storage or something similar to traditional three-tier architecture that is ideal for unpredictable workloads. It is ideal for large-scale and business-critical apps. It independently scales compute and storage, and it is most flexible, but at the cost of simplicity. So it's not as easily software defined as hyperconverged infrastructure. And the conclusion is, if you have two experiences, it's too complex. So what's the answer for this dilemma when you have both predictable workloads and unpredictable workloads? Well, the evolution was from the three-tier architecture to hyperconverged infrastructure that collapses everything into a single hyperconverged node. But the evolution of the IT infrastructure goes further, and it offers you a hyperconverged and disaggregated hyperconverged solution. So let's just briefly recap. We know what the hyperconverged is. It is storage, networking, virtualization, everything in a single hardware, server hardware. And what is disaggregated hyperconverged? It is the same solution in idea. So basically, you still have all of the automation, all of the software-defined elements in this solution, but it is separated storage segment. So how does that look? We have the application-aware data mobility between both hyperconverged and disaggregated hyperconverged solutions with hyperconverged control and backed up with global intelligence. So what is Hyperconverged 2.0? It is a solution that alleviates the hyperconverged limitations. And those are few, but they have to be mentioned. It is the lack of flexibility while scaling resources. If you need more storage, you add a hyperconverged node, but you also add both CPU and memory. And that in turn increases your licensing cost. So if you need just CPU and memory, unfortunately, by adding another hyperconverged node, you add storage. So if you don't size it properly right away, you can have less than wanted efficiency in the hyperconverged solution. Also, traditional hyperconverged infrastructure is lacking efficiency with large and unpredictable workloads. So what is Hyperconverged 2.0? It is enabling disaggregation of the storage and the servers. So you can independently scale compute from the storage while maintaining all of the benefits and the efficiencies of the hyperconverged infrastructure. So it provides the following feature and benefits. It has absolute resilience with 6.9 availability and unique ability to tolerate multiple simultaneous drive failures that is not always available on every hyperconverged infrastructure solution. It offers always-on data reduction that eliminates tuning, improves performance while keeping storage dense. Like, for instance, HPE Nimble DHCI solution can store more data than any other platform. And it provides AI-powered monitoring tools that can predict and prevent disruption and provide cross-stack analytics that improve application performance and optimize resource use. And the simplicity of the HCI and the flexibility of a three-tier IT architecture are combined with the intelligence. This means organizations can enjoy the benefits of cloud-like architectures without any compromise on performance, availability, or scale. And just to mention, the HCI 2.0 technical advantages are that it deploys 91% quicker than traditional infrastructure. React to apps deployment can be done in less than 15 minutes with automatic resource discovery, configuration, and provisioning. It offers the ability to scale compute and storage independently with no over-provisioning. It offers 6.9 availability, fault tolerance, built-in data protection, and integrated encryption with sub-millisecond latency and automatic quality of service for consistent, fast performance at scale. It is also automated VM-centric provisioning and data services through virtual volumes, and no longer limited to hardware-centric configuration and management. It offers a single stack management of both physical and virtual infrastructure. And HPE InfoSight AI Ops and predictive analytics that over the past decade have saved 1.58 million hours of productivity. It is compatible with the existing HPE ProLiant server installations of Gen 9 and above, so customers can build on their current investment. Just to clarify this statement, if you have ProLiant servers of Gen 9 or Gen 10, you can use simply and easily use those servers to convert them to hyperconverged infrastructure without any additional cost besides buying separate storage. So in that way, you're avoiding more than 50% of your hardware refresh cost, and you can easily switch over to the hyperconverged infrastructure in a simple and automated fashion. So for the next steps, we encourage you to read customer success stories. You can talk to us, talk to SPAN sales representatives, and learn more about HPE hyperconverged infrastructure solutions. And just to name them, we are offering Microsoft Azure Stack Hub, Microsoft Azure Stack HCI, Nutanix on HPE ProLiant DX servers, HPE SimpliVity, HPE Nimble Storage DHCI, and VMware Cloud Foundation. So we encourage you to request a demo or a proof of concept and simply talk to us. Tell us your IT challenge and we will tell you what is your solution for that challenge. So We are now at the questions and answers. So Dennis, were there any questions in the chat box?
In the chat, no, but maybe someone would like to ask questions in the live session.
Okay, I encourage you to unmute yourself and ask your questions.
We can see our other campfire sessions are the same as this, but hopefully our guests will have a lot of the questions for us in the follow-ups and in the next steps with us when they choose us as a partner for their own cloud and multi-cloud journey.
Okay.
Thank you, Saša, for your very deep dive presentation about the hyperconverged infrastructure.
Thank you.
Well, our dear guests, this was all from our event. You listened to our directors through the keynote speech. Our panelists where they discussed the overall approach with their multi-cloud journeys and with their experience. And hopefully you gain insights about how to stay competitive in today's software-driven economy by being cloud native. The idea behind this event was to show you how can we help you support your digital transformation by thinking proactively about your IT strategies, especially for the cloud adoption and services that can be built and positioned for the sustainable future success. In the next couple of days, you can expect some follow-up materials from our side. We will include all of the recordings for you who attended all of these sessions, and for all of those guests that registered but couldn't attend. We will include the presentations and additional material, especially material on the side of the cost management in the multi-cloud that Aaron and Anthony presented with us in their own campfires. Once again, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you had a good time, you gained a lot of the new knowledge, experience, and do not hesitate to contact us directly through Infocumulus or SPAN so we can, in the future, to get new digital future in the multi-cloud journey. Thank you and have a nice rest of the day.